A child in a Viking village once asked why the shadows moved at night. The answer was simple, but terrifying. Those shadows were watching. And if you didn't listen, they could take you forever. Vikings are remembered as fearless raiders, brave warriors, yet their children grew up in quiet terror. Not of monsters, not of distant kings, but of things closer, things invisible. Every whisper of wind, every creak of wood, every flicker of fire could carry a warning. And the lessons they learned shaped them more than swords or shields ever could. Why would a society built on courage teach fear so carefully? What dangers were real, and what were shadows meant to prepare them for? The answers lie in the spaces between hearth and forest, where survival depended not just on strength, but on listening. From the moment they could walk, Viking children were taught that the world was full of eyes they could not see. Their mothers would hush them when a crow landed too close, or when wolves howled at the forest edge. You must respect them, they were told, or they will take notice. It wasn't superstition, it was survival. A careless child could wander into danger, and the village would lose more than one life. But the fear was subtle. It didn't scream, it whispered. And children learned to listen, even when nothing was moving at all. Fear wasn't just for the forest. It lived inside the village, too. Children watched how elders spoke in silence, how glances could carry warnings or curses. One wrong word, one misplaced action, could bring shame, or worse. At mealtimes, whispers carried like wind through the hall. A boy might spill a drink, and the subtle shake of a hand, a barely there frown, would teach him more than a scolding ever could. Fear here was a tool. It taught children that trust was fragile, and the cost of breaking it could echo for years. The gods themselves were a source of fear. Odin's eyes were said to watch from every shadow. Loki's mischief lurked behind smiles. Children learned that courage wasn't defiance, it was respect. One story told of a boy who dared mock the runes. He vanished from his village for days, found only trembling at the edge of the woods, unable to speak. Whether it was the gods or his imagination, the lesson was clear. Even the unseen had power. Rivers and forests were alive with dangers that demanded attention. Children learned to watch for hidden currents, for sudden storms, for animals that moved silently between the trees. A girl once wandered too close to the fjord, chasing a bird. Her brother saw the shadow of the tide before she did, and shouted just in time. The lesson wasn't in the scolding. It was in the sudden, heart-stopping realization that one mistake could cost everything. Night brought the deepest lessons. Even in a village surrounded by fire and laughter, darkness had teeth. Children slept with one eye open, listening for rustling roofs, for whispers outside the walls. Sometimes a child would wake to footsteps, or a door creaking, and there would be nothing. Yet the fear lingered. It was meant to linger, because when the world sleeps, the unprepared are the first to be lost. All of these fears, forest, gods, village, night, worked together. They weren't meant to paralyze, but to teach focus, awareness, respect. By the time a child could lift a sword, they had already survived countless small terrors, and each had hardened them in ways a blade never could. But fear has a shadow side. Some children grew cautious to the point of silence. Some carried anxiety like a weight their parents never saw. The very tool meant to save them could also break them. Those who learned fear well became the village's protectors. They knew when to strike, when to run, when to speak, and when to remain silent. But there were always those who did not. A single misstep, a whisper of carelessness, and a family could grieve for a life lost to the woods, or the fjord, or the unseen hand of fate. Fear taught patience, respect, vigilance, but it also taught grief. Children who grew into adults carried shadows they could not shake. And sometimes, even the strongest hearts trembled, not for themselves, but for those who hadn't learned the lesson soon enough. And still, the whispers continued. Even now, in the silence of an empty hall, or the flicker of a dying fire, a child might hear them. Shadows moving, eyes watching, a warning without words. Because fear, once taught, never truly leaves. It waits, and sometimes it waits for you.